Hello and welcome to the Armen Show podcast. Let's get into it. This one's going to be about AI, using AI for your general purposes. Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, any of these. There are many more. Perplexity. Using these tools to improve your existence. I'm going to go through 5, 10, 8 examples of how you can use them to enhance your existence. I've been using them quite a bit. You talk with them, these chats, there's communication back and forth, so you can adjust things along the way. The value of this is substantial. Let's get into it. Now, if you're a creator, a lot of resource is available through chats. Now, let's say you're going to have a discussion. I have a show. This is a show. If I have a discussion, I can prepare for that with the chat. In the chat, you put in resources, something you have written about the person, a summary, maybe a video of theirs, maybe a research paper they wrote, maybe any resource connected to that individual you're going to be discussing with or the topic you're going to be discussing. Put them in there. Describe what you cover, what you tend to cover, what you want to get out of the discussion, things that are important. Put these two together and let artificial intelligence give you some insight into, oh, this might be good. You might want to add this and this. This is important, but this is also vital. The back and forth is very substantial because you think, oh, okay, I was going to leave out this element of their writing, but that connects to something I've talked about before. Boom, now it's in there. It's like having a discussion, pre-discussion, and very much upgrades the level of what you're speaking about, what you'll be talking on. Highly recommend it. Another example, we'll call it example 2, is you have something in your life you are working on to repair. Oh, I have this issue with my battery. Boom, have a chat. Oh, okay, can you replace this kind of battery? Back and forth. Oh, where do I get the new battery? Do you have that? What are things that are important? Maybe be careful of this when you're replacing your battery. Try to do it this way. You'll get some information on what needs to be done to replace that battery, something you would have left out, a step in the process that you wouldn't have had in mind. Now, we are covering it. So that puts you in a good place to be. This can be with any household repair. You start chatting about, I want to do this. Can I do this? Oh, I didn't know this. Is this an option? And eventually you'll have somewhere to go with that. Now, a separate one here. Let's say you have something like this bookshelf that is behind me. You could talk to the chat program and say, I'm looking to adjust it. Here's a picture. Some of them you can send in a picture. I'm looking to adjust this. What can I do with this? Oh, okay, I can put these here to look better. What should I put on the top parts? What should I put on the lower parts? Should I put any sort of layer underneath things, maybe paper underneath to keep it long lasting? Maintenance, how it looks, how you use it, functionality, all the steps. You can go over them one by one in the chat back and forth. And because the chat keeps in mind what you've been talking about, you get real insight into what to do with your bookshelf or your closet or sheets or desk, table, whatever it might be. You get insight that you might not have thought of. And for the ones where you can send in a picture, with the picture, now you can look into specifically with my item, do you have any tips? And you'll get some wonderful tips. Oh, you could put a rug here in your room. The corners like that, maybe it'll affect the lighting. Maybe you can add lighting in here. Whatever insight, you can't get there unless you start having that dialogue back and forth. Data visualization. This is a third one. I think we're on the third one here. You can use it to visualize data. And so maybe you have information, you might have journals from a long time, something you've kept track of for a long time. Could be I have these recordings, for example, or things you've written about. You could scan them in. You can scan things in one by one. Let's say you have 15 of something. You could take pictures of them and scan them all in, and then have the software analyze it or visualize parts of it. How often do I use these kinds of words? What kind of emotional sentiment can you see in this writing? What patterns are emerging over time based on what is happening already? Pattern recognition is a big one. Trends. You can see trends of what you have done to what you might do. And it may give you ideas for what to add to your life, things to change up your life a bit that you wouldn't have thought of beforehand. You give it I guess this will be a separate one, so this will be number 4. You could put in your weekly schedule or your weekly exercise routine, something like that, or your daily items, and say, this is what I do currently. These are all the details, as much as you can. And then once the details are in there, what kind of adjustments might I want to make? Is there any little things I should change so that this is more full or more balanced, or it has more longevity to it than what I currently do? That kind of adjustment is a big deal because that little thing could save you a lot of effort 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 3 months from now. That's a big deal. For the 5th one, let's say you're writing a book or some sort of written project. What a resource you have right now. You put parts of it into Claude, for example, and say, this is what I've written so far. This is what I'm looking to add to it and flesh out. What are things I can do to make this happen? What could be potential other chapters? Title, thoughts, things I should explore, things people would want to hear about. The more you put in and the more you describe, the more you're able to get great information on the other end. But let's say you don't have all the insight of what to put in the front, as far as information or your resources. You put in a little bit of description and content and say, I have this. What can I do with this? How can I expand on that? Let's say you're not as creative. You could let Claude or ChatGPT handle the creativity more so. And if you're more creative, you could describe already what you've done and then let it handle expanding it, organizing, refining it, things like that. The parts you handle, you handle them. The parts you don't handle well, these can be assisted by these LLMs, large language models. A 5th, I think we're on number 5. A 5th one is you can put in your routine for some sort of, let's say you're taking care of your skin. This is my skin care routine. What is one thing I would add to this, or something I can adjust, or I don't have a routine, whatever it might be. What is something I can adjust from where I am currently so that I will be better off down the line? If you do this, it has insights. You would be surprised. And you can only get these insights if you start asking, start the dialogue, have a separate chat for each of these things so that they are organized. You want it to be organized. You don't want things to be a jumble. Have each chat to be for one specific category or thing, and don't mix them up. And I think in some of the chats you can put some of the services you can put the chats in groups. That's helpful. So it could be exercise plan and fitness, food, protein. Maybe put those together as group chats in some way. Another great item you can do, I think this is number 6. You can say, this is my trajectory this year. Here's things I've done. Here's things I want to do. Can you create a daily routine that gets me to here? I'm looking to go to this. What do I need to do daily to get to that? And it might give you an actual monthly, weekly, yearly calendar of the direction to do all that, which is very handy indeed. And you might be very glad about the outcome, because then by the end of the year, you have tackled all the items you would have been glad for. But if you left it alone, the year passed and you look back saying, what had happened over there? what had happened over there. A sixth one, I don't know if we're on 6 or 7 at this point, is you can search for something first you have no idea about. So something happens, you break something you have, or there's an injury, or you don't even know what's going on. You start typing in, I think this has happened because of this, and I'm this, but I'm not sure. You'll start to get insight, and then maybe it'll ask you a question to follow up. Oh, but this happened when it was this, and the weather was like this. You're getting more and more insight. Eventually, maybe after a very short period of time, you figure out this is a common thing that many other people have gone through, and there are solutions to parts of it. Now you have solutions. You didn't have that prior, and now you're on the path to something before you were stuck. Reducing friction is a big thing that's happening through these chats. I'm doing a lot of data analyzing of my own. That's an option there for number 8. We'll put it. Any sort of data you have. I think I mentioned that earlier, but things that you have put together over many years have a lot of information in them. So if you are a creator or you have kept something in some way for many years, you can discuss it, talk about it, analyze it. If you collect something, you could look up what you can do with that collection, how to build on it, how to give it away to people, what to do with it. That's resourceful. A 9th one is it can take you through a technical challenge. I wanted to back up data on external hard drives that were encrypted. I've never encrypted drives before. Going through that process was a lot of steps, but I was able to walk through it with Claude. You could do it with Gemini, whatever it might be. And now, okay, I tried this. This didn't work. Oh, okay, but this didn't work. It gave me this error. You type it in, and it gives you feedback based on the error you got, what you can do, next steps, which is very valuable because you get stuck often, but now you don't have to get stuck. It'll just say, oh, that's this because of this. You should do this. Or once in a while, it'll just give you a program. It'll actually program a program for you to use to do the thing. Either way, it gets you through the difficult part of something could be technical in that way. 10th one, you could look up, what do I need to do to maintain my household, my whatever, this relationship, maintenance. You could ask, what are the important things to check on weekly, monthly, yearly? Boom, here's a listing of what you should check on every once in a while. These little things, instead of something expanding too much as a problem, you'll catch it earlier, and this gives you longevity, this gives you strength, this gives you health. Worthwhile to do. Looking at analyzing, troubleshooting, very valuable in there. Another one you can do, we'll go, I guess, number 11. I'll keep going until I don't know what number. But you can have AI talk to you as a person. So you can say, speak to me as an individual that is trying to motivate me in this direction with an optimistic, upbeat view and long answers that include quotes from well-known philosophers. It will do that then. You've given it some guidance, and now you get insight in the way that speaks to you. So you can create a responsive individual in AI that speaks to you the way that you hear things. Or if you're more procedural and you want steps, it can speak to you more with steps. Depends on how you hear things. You want to generate that on the other end. It'll speak to you more clearly. And the last one I'll pick, I believe this is number 12. So the last one I'll pick for this one. Let's say you are going to an area, some location, and you want to pick out what should I do while I'm there on a short trip, or how do I organize it? Put in the plans as much as possible, and you will get great insight on where you should go, how you should stay based on what you're doing, where to go for people or certain food or leisure or to get things done, what timing, how to set up before that. You can have a smooth time instead of being completely out of order, all because you planned it out and talked about it beforehand. So that is 12 great examples, I believe it was 12, of what you can do with Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and any related LLMs. Try them out. They're worth it. We're in 2025. This is fast moving. Who knows where we'll be at just down the year or later on. But for the moment, that is some insight. And I may follow this up with more of them, but that is the amount I will bring up for now. This has been your host, Armen Shirvanian, host of The Armen Show. Hope you have enjoyed this one. Share it, like it, whatever it may be. And we'll see you on the next one.